Pushes for change statewide after our investigations into a law that allows mayors to preside as judges.
In our latest investigation in partnership with ProPublica, we also learned 3 mayors have taken steps to vacate the bench. Here's our new mayor, judge, jury investigation. Mr. Mayor, you told us you would do an interview with us, though, Mr. Mayor.
Talk to the attorney.
You told me on the phone.
A mayor who refused to answer our questions on camera.
He told us on the phone that he would do an interview with us.
If he doesn't want to do an interview,
Has now given up his other role as a judge of his local court.
Citrica Williams Bassadeg.
Citrica Williams Bassadeg.
Do solemnly swear or affirm.
Do solemnly swear or affirm.
Following Fox 8 investigations into mayor's courts and the fees collected by the town, the mayor of the village of Fenton, just outside Lake Charles, will no longer preside over court there. Instead of a municipal or traffic court, Louisiana law allows small towns like Fenton to have mayor's court, where the mayor acts as judge, jury, and even appoints his own prosecutor. Our report showed fines and fees that run through Fenton's mayor's court essentially fund the town. In the latest published audit, more than 90% of Fenton's revenue, $1.3 million, was collected from fines and fees, mostly from traffic tickets. Eddie Alford is the elected Fenton mayor, and with little legal training, he oversaw court, ruling whether drivers owed his town money for traffic violations. After our first story aired, Alfred defended sitting on the bench.
The prosecutor presents the plea arrangements to me, and all I do is accept them. The individual does not speak to me. So how is that not fair?
However, a 1972 United States Supreme Court ruling says defendants' rights are violated if a mayor sits on the bench, is responsible for town finances, and if the court accounts for a substantial share of the town's revenue. An Ohio federal court said that's 10% or more. The Louisiana Judicial College uses that same threshold. Alfred took the Judicial College's training, which is required by state law, but ignored the guidance until recently. Just days after our first story, minutes from a November 28th council meeting show Alfred approved the appointment of Citrica Williams Bassadeg as the town's magistrate. Bassadeg tells us she actually reached out to Fenton and offered to preside over court. After seeing our report, she presided over her first mayor's court last week.
I saw that there was some things going on down there that needed my help. And the type of person that I am, I tend to try to help my communities as much as I possibly can. So I reached out to the mayor and inquired about what was going on.
Our reports highlighted in order to oversee court, mayors didn't need a law degree, and until earlier this year, weren't required to undergo any training at all. The state just recently began mandating training online. But Bassadeg believes anyone who oversees a court should be qualified.
Do you think anyone presiding over court should have a legal background?
Oh, most definitely. Anybody presiding over a court of law should have some type of legal background to assist them with what's going on.
Fenton isn't the only town to make changes. Albany Mayor Eileen Bates McCarroll had presided over court until recently, despite in one year the town bringing in 14% of its budget through mayor's court. But after we started asking questions, the mayor told us she planned to hire a magistrate to oversee court. And in Tulos, north of Alexandria, after our questions, the town added appointing a magistrate to the agenda of this week's council meeting. But one state lawmaker wants changes to the system and believes having the mayor hire a magistrate could still pose a conflict of interest.
Do you think if a town gets over 10% of its revenue, do you think a mayor should be on the bench?
I don't think a mayor should be on the bench at all. And I don't think that the mayor should be able to control who the magistrate is, because if the magistrate is just the proxy for the mayor and his position and salary that he's making is controlled by the mayor, then I mean, it's a little bit better from the aspect of you having somebody with legal training making the decision, but you're still not getting rid of the conflict of interest.
Mayor's courts have been on Representative Edmund Jordan's radar for a while.
The question that I raised a couple of years ago, if 48 states can live without mayor's court, why can't we?
Jordan, who works as an attorney when he's not serving as a lawmaker, introduced legislation last year that would have abolished mayor's courts. The Louisiana Municipal Association opposed it. Then he tried to require attorneys to preside over mayor's courts instead of mayors. Lawmakers voted it down.
We got it partially through the process, and then we faced a whole heap of opposition. Not that people necessarily disagreed with everything that I was saying. In fact, they did, but a lot of these people represent those small towns. And when the pressure came from their constituents saying, hey, look, we need this money to run the town, they saw a lot of them backed off.
Jordan says in the March legislative session, he'll try to create a task force to study mayor's courts, deciding whether to make changes or possibly get rid of them altogether.
I think that should be some reform at a minimum. And on the far end, it could lead to the abolishment. But that's going to be a very huge obstacle to overcome. But I do think within that we can have some reform on the way to making this better.
Potentially eliminating a little-known type of court that brings in big money for some small towns.
How are they supposed to have due process? But you got the town attorney acting as the prosecutor. So everybody is in on the game except the person being charged with the offense.
The Louisiana Municipal Association issued several statements to Fox 8 and ProPublica regarding mayor's courts in Jordan's previous efforts to change or get rid of them. In a statement, Executive Counsel for the association, Karen White, said mayor's courts play an integral role in ensuring public health and safety because they enforce all municipal ordinances, including traffic laws, health and safety codes, and nuisance abatement. She added it is problematic to adopt a single guideline for all municipal governments. Continuing, there has been no rule from the U.S. Supreme Court to support any definite threshold as triggering the mandatory appointment of a magistrate. White went on to say we have deep respect for Representative Jordan's passion on these and other matters and welcome the opportunity to have honest and expansive conversations about municipal government operations.